Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off in a kneeling position. Bring your hands to rest on your thighs, let your palms face down or up. Allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze and start to bring your focus and awareness to your breathing. Give yourself a few moments of breath. And transition yourself to a tabletop all fours position. Lift your right knee up off the ground and just start to very gently swing your right leg straight forwards and straight backwards. So try to keep in the track of your hip, just going straight forwards and straight backwards, finding that flexion and extension into your right hip. Take this a few more times and then switch sides, lower your right knee, and then lift your left leg. And find that same kind of swinging sensation of bringing the left knee forward and letting it pull back. So you're really just tracking right into your left hip. Finding flexion and extension in the left hip. Keep both of your hips square down to the ground. Doesn't have to be a huge range of motion. Try to keep your lower back really stable. Take just a few more of these and then bring your left knee back down to the ground, back to your neutral tabletop position. Flip your toes under, find downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air and now step your right foot halfway forward. So not all the way between your hands, but about halfway forward. Keep your hands on the mat and lift your left leg up so you're coming into a capital L shape. You can walk your fingertips a little further out in front of you. And we're gonna move between those two postures. So rebend your bottom knee, reach your right leg up for your three-legged dog. Step your right foot forward, find your capital L shape. Again, just playing around with flexion and extension into both of your hips now, kind of more focusing on the right hip, but the left hip is finding a little bit of extension as well. You take this about 5 times on this side, just stepping forward, find your capital L shape, lift the left leg, and then lower the left toes and find your three-legged dog. After your 5th time, hold your capital L shape, and you're going to sneak your foot forward. So you're in your capital L shape with your right leg down. Sneak your left foot forward and then come into a half kneeling position. So you'll have to find a little bit of a loft to step your left foot forward to find this half kneeling position and then bring yourself back through. So we're coming back into that capital L shape. And these will be the 2 postures that we move in between now, this half kneeling position and then your capital L shape. And again, we take this 5 times. In that capital L shape, really square your hips down to the mat and then just feel that little bit of lift as you step your left foot forward to come into your half kneeling position. Find this a few more times. Again, just moving into flexion and extension into both of your hips. And then after your final time, bring your left foot down and come into a 90-90 lunge. So your right foot's still in front. Keep your left hand down, reach your right fist up. Really let your body lean back to the left. Try to drop your left ear down towards your left shoulder. So you're feeling that length all along your right neck and right shoulder. Give yourself a few more big breaths here. And then place your right hand outside of your right foot. Step your right foot back. Move into a high plank position. Press into your palms, rotate your knees over to the right and start to send your hips back to your heels. Slide yourself back forward to a high plank and then bend your knees to the left. And keep taking this, going from side to side. We're gonna do 3 times total each side. Let the knees bend to the right, come back forward. Let the knees bend to the left and slide back forward. And one more time each side, bend the knees to the right, slide it forward. And bend the knees to the left and slide it forward. Now hold in your plank position, float your right toes up off the ground. Travel your right toes out to the right. Bring them back in and then lower your right knee down. Now lift your left foot up off the ground, levitate and then cross your left knee behind your right knee at the same time. Flip your bottom right toes, lift your bottom knee so it's kind of an eagle wrap float. Lower your bottom knee, extend your left leg. Bring your left foot down to the mat and find your one-legged plank. We're gonna take that a few more times. Open your right leg to the side, bring your right leg back in, lower your right knee, lift your left heel. Bring your left knee behind your right knee and tuck your right toes. Float your bottom knee up off the ground, lower your right knee, extend your left leg, bring your left foot down and find your 3-legged plank. Good, continue to take that right leg out to the side, right leg back to center, lower your right knee, lift your left toes, Bring your left knee behind your right knee, flip your bottom toes, float your bottom knee up off the ground, lower your right knee, extend your left leg, lower your left toes, three-legged plank. Hold for just a moment in your three-legged plank, and then bring your right toes down to the ground and find your downward facing dog. We're gonna set all of that up on the second side. Inhale, lift your left leg high, and then step your left foot so it comes halfway through, and shift yourself forward into your capital L shape. Square your hips down to the mat. We take this 5 times total. Bend the bottom knee, stretch the left leg up, and then step your left foot forward and find your capital L shape. Take that again, bend your bottom knee, reach your left leg up, three-legged dog, and then step your left foot forward, lift your right leg up, capital L shape. Keep moving between these two postures, reach your left leg up, three-legged dog, step your left foot through, lift the right leg up, capital L shape. Take this a couple more times, lift the leg up, find your capital L shape. And one last one, step your right foot down, find your three-legged dog, and then step your left foot halfway forward, lift your right leg, capital L shape. Pause for a moment here. Now step your right foot. Try to bring it in front of your left foot and bring yourself forward into your half kneeling position so your left knee tucks under. And then transition yourself back to your capital L shape. Plug your left foot down, find your capital L. Step your right foot forward, move into your half kneeling, lift your gaze, and then switch. Bring your left foot down, reach your right leg up. We take this in repetition just to find how this feels in your body, especially in your hips. You want to stay completely parallel here, examining and exploring flexion and extension, where that is for you in your body. And then after your final round, after your final half kneeling position, bring yourself back to your capital L shape. And then bring your right foot down and come into your 90-90 kneeling position. Keep your right hand down, reach your left arm up, find this twist. And then really try to lean your body back to the right and roll your heart open to the ceiling. Actively press down into your right palm. Think of leaning yourself back, let your right ear be heavy down towards your right shoulder. And then place your right hand back down to the mat. Come back to your plank. We're gonna take this series on the left side. Lift your left toes up off the ground. Open your left leg out to the left side. Bring your left leg back in. Lower your left knee down. Lift your right leg up. Tuck your right knee behind your left knee. Flip your bottom toes. Float your left knee up off the ground. Take a few moments. Lower your left knee. Extend your right leg. Lower your right toes and find your three-legged plank. We do this again, moving in series. Open your left leg out to the side, bring it back to center, lower your left knee, lift your right foot, tuck your right knee behind your left knee, flip your bottom toes, lift your bottom knee, lower your bottom knee, extend the right leg, bring the right toes down, find your three-legged plank. Take this again. So a lot of stuff is happening here. Obviously, this is a lot of core strengthening. We're also still exploring and experimenting with the flexion and extension through your hip joints. And then of course, finding a lot of core activation here. Continue to move. Once you find your three-legged plank, reach your left leg out to the side, bring it back to center, lower the left knee down, lift your right foot up and tuck it behind your left knee. Float your left knee, lower your left knee, extend your right leg, bring your right toes down, find your three-legged plank, and then bring your left toes down, find your downward facing dog. And then once again, roll yourself forward to a high plank and then bend your knees over to the right, send your hips to the left. Now from here, start to bring your left knee forward into a half pigeon. Now we're gonna start off in a floating half pigeon, so keep your back toes flipped under so your hip is lifted and your thigh is lifted. And take a few little soft, gentle bounces here. And now use your hands to try to straighten your leg, so your left leg is gonna be really far crossed. We're gonna move between these two postures, so a lifted half pigeon, and then press into your hands to come into this cross-legged stretch. Take this again with control. Lower your left shin, lift your chest, and then press into your palms, find your cross-legged position. And now on this next go around, lower your left knee down to the ground and just find your half pigeon. We're gonna be here for a little bit. Sit up nice and tall to start off with, and then start to crawl your hands out long in front of you, coming into your sleeping pigeon. Feel like your head could be nice and heavy, your jaw could be nice and loose. Both of your hips can be square down to the ground, and just breathe here. Nice full big breaths in and full exhales. We're going to be here for a little bit, so really try to focus on your breath. If this half pigeon doesn't work in your body, if it irritates your knee or your hip, feel free to roll over onto your back and take a supine figure 4 with your left ankle crossed on top. Bring yourself up and rotate over to your left butt bone, so you're in a half straddle, and then find a side bend over to the right. We're going to move through 2 postures here. Take your left hand behind your left hip, press down, lift your hips up, open through the front of your chest. Take this again, lower the hips down, lift your left arm up, and stretch yourself up and over to the right. And then switch, bring your left hand behind your left hip, press down to lift your hips up, open through the chest, and then lower your hips down and find the side bend. And we'll take one more round here, moving between these 2 postures. Bring the left hand behind the left hip, open the heart space up towards your ceiling. And then lower your hips down, move back to a high plank position. We'll take all of this on the second side. Bend your knees over to the left. And then from here, bring your right knee, your right shin forward into a floating half pigeon. So keep your back toes flipped under, keep your back thigh lifted. Give yourself a few moments here. You can kind of rock back and forth, take some very gentle bounces. Press down into your hands, try to straighten up through both of your legs. You're gonna come to the outer edge of your right foot. It feels a little funky. Feel that stretch, that pull into your outer right thigh, and then lower yourself back into your half pigeon. And take this again, press down to lift up, and then lower, bend your right knee and bring yourself down. And we'll do this one final time. Press into your hands, find your kind of cross-legged pyramid. And then lower your right knee back down to the mat and start to bring yourself into a full half pigeon. So you can release your back toes, and when you're ready, start to crawl your hands forward. Square both of your hips down to the mat. And if this posture doesn't work well in your body, feel free to come onto your back and find a supine figure 4. Whichever option you're taking, make sure that you're breathing. Hips are square, body is released. Find nice full big breaths here. Breathe into your hips, breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Take a few more big breaths here, allowing your torso to get heavier with every exhale. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and slowly start to roll yourself up. Roll over onto your right butt bone. We're coming into this half straddle, so the left leg is extended. Reach your right arm up overhead towards your left toes. Find a few moments here. Think of stretching your right rib cage up towards the ceiling. And now take your right hand behind your right hip, press down to lift your hips up and open through the front of your body. And take this again, lower your hips with control and take your right arm up and over towards your extended left leg. Breathe into your space all along the right side of your torso. Bring your right hand behind your right hip, press down, lift up through the hips. And then release your hips back down to the ground. One final go around here. Find this nice side body bend, right arm up and over. And then bring your right hand behind your right hip, press down to the right hand, press your hips up, open the chest and the heart. And then with control, lower your hips down to the ground. Find a cross-legged sitting position. Bring your hands to rest on your knees or your thighs. Let your palms face down or up. You can allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And give yourself a few final moments of breath here. Thank you for joining us today. And that's your flow.